Well, hello everybody and welcome to Young Adult Edition. I am so excited. Today's episode is all about music, books, and bookish playlists. We are here hanging out with the queen of bookish playlists. And we do have guest star Alicia Gaile, who has a story all about music. We're going to invite her on in just a few minutes. But before we get there, let's introduce ourselves. We're going to talk about some book world news and new book releases before we jump into today's topic. So I am K.m. Robinson, author of the Golden Trilogy, and I am hanging out here with author Elle Beaumont, who is the author of Binding of the Sea. Elle, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been quite the week, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. It has been quite the week. Insane.
It has. It really has. We talk all the time, and so we've got a bunch of crazy stuff we're going to be telling you about today. But we're really excited because there is interesting book world news going on today. If you guys know something that's going on in the book world, feel free to let us know. We would love to hear from you down in the comments below, whether you are joining us live or on the rebroadcast. And leave us some comment love. And hey, if you're having fun with today's episode, do us a favor, hit the share button so that your friends can see the episode too. And we'll be giving you more information if you're an author or a book world person who wants to come on the show, or if you have a topic idea in just a little bit. So Elle, I know you've got something interesting that you found this week in the book world. Tell us just a little bit about what that is.
I do. It is along the lines of science fiction and fantasy. Tor is opening for submissions, and they're looking for original novellas between 20 and 40,000 words. They're opening for submission on May 1st, and they will be evaluating through May 15th. They really want authors that have completed works or are close to finishing works, and they're actively requesting submissions from underrepresented populations, different genders, different races, orientation, religion, anything like that. So visit Tor.com if you are one of these, because your story just might be published by Tor.
Which is pretty dang awesome. And on something similar, I do have an interesting news story for you guys. And I might have a vested interest in this. In fact, Elle and I both might have a vested interest in this. There is another option for you guys to be getting published. We're really excited about this. There is a brand new anthology by Crescent Sea Publishing. It is a Cinderella anthology. So this is going to be a collection of works that are all twisted versions of Cinderella stories. So this is not just a bunch of random fairy tales in one anthology. This is not a theme. This is specifically Cinderella stories. Now, we have been getting some really interesting stories from people and ideas of stories from people. We're really excited about it because we've got some very fascinating Cinderella twists with big twists in it. And so we would love to hear from you. Elle and I are actually the ones curating this anthology for Crescent Sea Publishing. So we hope you guys will come check it out. I can speak. It's okay. We hope you guys will check it out. We're really excited about it. The cutoff is next month, so early June. Sorry, it threw me. So it's actually a little bit more. In early June, you can submit your story. It is 7,000 words to 30,000 words, preference to longer stories. We're hoping for around 7 stories, but we might tweak that a little bit. It's called 7 Ways to Say Cinderella, but we will be tweaking that just a little bit. We've got some really cool things going on, so we would love to see you. For more information on that, go to anthologies.k.m.robinsonbooks.com, and I'll kick you over to where you need to go. And as always, if you know of something happening in the book world, we want to hear from you. Let us know what's going on in the book world, whether it's something you are involved with or something you happen to have heard over the week, because we want to discuss what is going on in the book world so you guys can get involved too. So whether it is submissions, or it is a conversation going on in the book world, or it is some type of event, we want to hear from you so we can chat about it here on the show. We're really excited about this. And thanks, guys, so much for joining us. I see we've got some people live. Leave us a little comment, love, so that we know who you are, because we can see how many people are watching, but we cannot see who you are until you comment. Plus, comments really help. For those of you that don't know, the algorithms love to see when people are commenting and sharing on these live videos. So if you're here, if you're hanging out, please let us know that you are here and leave us a little love. And let us know, are you excited about these 2 submission opportunities that we have just given to you? I hope you guys will check it out. And if you do, go ahead and let us know if you are going to be submitting. We are thrilled to pieces because we've got some really cool stuff going on today. But before we do that, I wanted to check in because Elle and I have some interesting personal stuff going on. Elle, I know you had some fun things going on this weekend. What did you do?
I went up to Maine, Freeport, Maine, with Mr. Beaumont. It was just a fun getaway, and we happened to rent a 2018 Z06 Corvette, and that was really fun. I was able to visit my favorite bookstore up in Freeport, and of course, I have to visit this bookstore because it is my favorite, and I can't go anywhere without visiting a bookstore. But aside from books, it has like these adorable little knickknacks. I showed you a couple things that I got. It has lots of nautical stuff because it's up in Maine, and I just loved it. I got 2 books, and Mr. Beaumont was kind of like, really? Really? And what about you?
Well, I am actually pretty thrilled. Allison, hey, thanks so much for joining. We appreciate you being here and hanging out with us. I'm trying to switch over to my screen. There we go. That took a minute. We're thrilled to pieces to see you here, Allison. Thanks for joining. Let us know. Are you excited about what's going on in the book world this week? I am thrilled because I was just notified by Facebook that 1 year ago, this time, because we know Facebook is a little off on some of their memories, I was actually in a really cool place, doing a really cool thing, and I wanted to show you guys what it was that I actually did 1 year ago today-ish. So here we go. I'm going to throw a picture up right here. I was swimming with beluga whales, which was super fun. That's a picture of a beluga whale giving me a kiss. And so I thought that that might be something that was kind of fun, especially because I have a brand new mermaid series coming out in just a couple of weeks. It is called the Siren Wars Saga, and I am thrilled to pieces for you guys to get your hands on a copy of that. Siren Wars, info.k.m.robinsonbooks.com. Shameless plug. It's all good. But I thought that might be fun to share. That's one of my favorite photos to share. So I do appreciate the love for my beluga whale friend. Go ahead and give my beluga whale a shout out in those comments below. Have you ever had the chance to swim with dolphins or with whales? Or if you're one of those daredevil people and you have had the chance to swim with sharks, let us know because that's super fun. All right. And also, while you're here hanging out with us, go ahead and let us know what your week was like, what you were doing. And maybe we'll give you some shout outs as we are going through the show. We do have one more quick thing we want to talk about before we bring our guest star on, and that is new books for the week. So we do have some new releases out this week, which we're really excited about. We are going to go ahead and toss a graphic up here so that you can see which ones are out and available this week. And I'm going to give a shout out to, oops, let me put that down so you can see it all. I'm going to give a shout out to Lisa Brown Roberts. Her new book, Spies, Lies, and Allies, comes out next week. And I'm really, really excited about this. If you have not read her stuff before, she is the funniest person I've ever met in my entire life. And her books are hilarious and swoony, and they will make you blush. And I might just have my hands on a copy of an advanced copy of this book. So just a little shout out love there. Make sure you check that out May 1st. All right, guys, we are going to be bringing on our guest star. We are hanging out with author Alicia Gaile today. She is the author of Trial by Song, which is a fabulous retelling. Alicia, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us. We are talking all about music today and how it is connected to books. So we are going to be chatting all about music and books today. Before we jump into that, tell everybody where they can find you. And then we're going to talk a little bit about your book.
Okay. I'm on Twitter as Alicia_Gaile. I have a Facebook page, which is just Facebook/author Alicia Gaile. And I'm on Instagram as author Alicia Gaile. So those are...
Yes. And I hang out with you all the time on social media. So I am trying to get your screen name up there for Instagram. It's being a little slow. There we go. There it is. Allison is saying that it's on her wish list. Fantastic. Glad to hear that. And thanks so much, guys, for the comment love. We do appreciate that. Feel free to talk to us throughout the entire course of the show. If you have questions for Alicia, go ahead and pop those in at any point. We're going to be talking all about her book today. Alicia, tell us a little bit about Trial by Song.
Okay. Trial by Song is a retelling of Jack and the Beanstalk. It's modern, but it's got a twist of some other fairy tales in there. And instead of going to a giant land, he goes into fairyland. So it deals more with the consequences of stealing the harp than it does about the whole adventure up with the fairies. But one of the things that always bothered me with Jack and the Beanstalk was that he just walks away as the hero, even though he walks in and steals this giant stuff. So there are some serious consequences to what he does in this series. And it's got like a dual narrative. There's a very strong Snow White theme. There's some Celtic folklore mixed in. There's just a whole bunch of little fairy tales sprinkled in all through the place. So if you're a fan of retellings, I think you'll enjoy it a lot.
And I am such a fan of retellings. Elle, I know you enjoy retellings as well.
Oh, yes.
So I'm thrilled to pieces because you do have a lot of music mixed into this book. So I guess my first question to everyone here, so I'm asking you in the comments, I'm asking you watching at home, I'm asking my beautiful co-host and our wonderful guest star, why is it so important to represent music in books?
Okay, well, I think that music is just an expression of, your creativity in a whole different way. Someone who looks at a painting can see the same painting you do. It might mean something different, but music is so subjective that, it just really moves you in a totally different way than like a painting or a story or something, because it's totally how you interpret that in a totally different way.
Absolutely. What do you think, Elle?
I agree. I think it's a good way to connect with your readers on a different level. If you have, I've read some books that actually have playlists in them that have music in them, and you just connect with the story, the character on a little bit of a different level, and you kind of get into the author's headspace a little bit, because you can feel, just like you're looking at a painting, you can feel a little bit more because it's in your head, your heart, it's just what's not to love about music.
I'm a big fan of music. I see Allison is as well. Allison actually says that she's mostly Irish, so love, love, love. I'm a big fan of music. I am actually a musician. I do a lot of singing. I play several different instruments, and so I love seeing that represented within literature, especially young adult literature. And I really love that you incorporated this into your story so much. Now, guys, if you are live with us, if you're hanging out, go ahead and leave us some questions for Alicia. We are going to be answering those throughout the course of today's broadcast. And if you are in the rebroadcast, if you're watching the replay, whether you are here on Facebook Live or on YouTube or on our blogs, you can go ahead and drop some comments in those comments, and we will try to get those questions answered for you as quickly as possible. And hey, we might even do an extra broadcast just to answer your questions. So if you've got questions, now's the time. Go ahead, leave us a little love, and we'll see what we can do. Okay. So we are answering questions. We're talking all about music. And I want to know, ladies, we're all authors here. Do we listen to music while we are writing?
I know I prefer instrumental music when I'm writing. I think when words get in there, then it just distracts me too much from whatever words are running through my head.
I have been known to try to listen to music with words while I write. And sometimes I type the lyrics instead of what I'm writing. So that's an issue for me too. I do usually prefer instrumental music, but sometimes, I will say this is more of a recent occurrence for me, I will find like an anthem song that I really, really like, and I will just have it so ingrained that I can actually treat it like white noise and not think about it while I'm doing it, but still also sing along and type my words. So I've kind of gotten to the point where I can multitask and do that. But for most songs, no, it needs to be instrumental. Elle, how about you?
I kind of do both. There are some songs with lyrics that, like you said, it's kind of an anthem, and I get to hone in on a certain emotion, and I'll just have to like keep it on repeat for like 30 minutes straight until I get the emotion down. But mostly I listen to instrumental. I recently actually just took up listening to piano music because it just kind of, Enya is always good. But again, Enya has lyrics in there, but there's something about her that just soothes the soul. So
we're going deep here, guys. Going deep. Well, on that note, that's actually a really good transition. I want to know, what music we listen to as we are writing? I know for me, I tend to be a fan of Lindsay Sterling. I love her music. It tends to go really well with a lot of my books. So that's one of my big favorites. But I will say that I have recently been listening to the Greatest Showman soundtrack, and that's kind of my white noise as I'm writing, because I know the lyrics so very well, and I can just sing as I go, and it's not an issue. So, Alicia, what do you listen to?
I'll say like Enya and that type of sort of Celtic stuff. Like I'll go online and I'll find a Gothic soundtrack, depending on what type of scene I'm looking for. You know, if it's a adventure story, then I used to like the soundtrack to The Mask of Zorro because it was so like upbeat, or Pirates of the Caribbean because you could really just feel the action that was going on. But a lot of harp music, a lot of instrumental stuff most of the time.
That's actually a really good one. I'm going to need to write that down because that's going to actually work with some of the things I'm writing right now. So just just a note to myself. Guys, if you're joining us live, if you're hanging out here, or even if you're on the rebroadcast, what music do you recommend we listen to as we are doing our writing? And hey, P.S., if you are a writer too, give us a shout out and let us know what you are listening to as you are writing your books. Now, ladies, question, and I think we kind of touched on this a little bit, but as you are going through this, as you're working with it, do you kind of switch up the music you're listening to based on what stories you're writing? Do you have like things that are specific to that particular book, or is it kind of blanket, this is the type of thing I do?
I definitely switch it up based on scenes, and I tend to focus more on like the emotion of the music during editing more so than writing. But yeah, definitely if I'm looking for a romantic scene, I'll pull out, say, like the Titanic soundtrack. Um, but yeah, it definitely changes based on what I need my headspace to be in.
That's awesome. Elle, how about you?
definitely. I have to send it to you. And Alicia, if you want it too, you might, because you're such a music person, you might already have it. But I actually have a soundtrack on Spotify that is epic trailer covers. So like it's actually songs that have been redone to sound like the epic trailer music. So like Time After Time, that was redone to sound like this epic trailer. And honestly, I love the epic trailers for fight scenes. I love Enya for something that's a little bit more like in the forest and just kind of a little bit like that. And then you kind of have I love Alan Walker. KM knows this. I've gotten KM addicted to Alan Walker. And I know, I send you all the music. I love Alan Walker for like certain things. I'm such a music person that I can give you a song for anything.
She really can. She's very, very good, and she sends it all to me. And she actually does all of my playlists for my books. Like, I don't even bother touching it. All I have to do is say, hey, I need a playlist for whichever series. Can you just 10 minutes later, she's got a list and a graphic, and it's all ready to go, and it's amazing. So I don't even bother with my own these days. Alicia, do you have a playlist for your story? And before we do that, Allison says, I like the same music as you talked about. So we all have good taste here. That is fantastic. So do you have a playlist for your book?
Not a specific playlist. There's definitely songs I was thinking of during certain scenes. I know at the very beginning of Trial by Song, he goes to a battle of the bands, and it's Halloween, so someone did a medley of horror movie themes. And so there was a video I found on YouTube of someone who had done a medley of all the different horror movies. So there was that, and I think Green Sleeves comes up a couple of times, or at least I thought about it a couple of times during certain scenes, but not any specific playlist.
That's cool. I that's kind of what I do. Like, I feel like I've got some songs that I kind of think of as I'm writing or as I'm talking to people, but I personally don't have any playlists because I met Elle, and Elle's done all the work for me, so I don't have to do any of it myself. And if I were to have to do it myself, there probably wouldn't be playlists because it's just not something I've invested a lot of time in doing at this point. All right. So we are wrapping up right now with author Alicia Gaile, who is the author of Trial by Song. Alicia, I know you have more than one book out, so tell us what we are looking at in terms of your stories.
Okay. Well, I have the sequel to Trial by Song out also, and it's Cinder's Dance. And sure, it's another retelling. So Jack goes through his first story, and then we have the second one, which kind of jumps into a new set of fairy tales. He's still the character, and it's still following his journey, but I try and balance both, like, two major themes for each one. So, like I said, in Trial by Song, it was Jack and the Beanstalk, Snow White, and Cinder's Dance is more of a Goblin Market mashup with Cinderella. So, like I said, if you're into retellings, I hope that piques your interest. And then I'm working right now on the third book in this series. So.
Fantastic. Guys, we will be putting all of Alicia's links in the caption above or possibly below after the show and over on the blog and our YouTube channel. So make sure you check her out and get your hands on a copy of Trial by Song today. Super excited for you guys to try it. And I know right now you are in the middle of doing a read-through with your fans. So just real quick, kind of blurb that for us. I know it's probably a little too late to be joining at this point, but the next time you do it, kind of give them a pitch for it.
Okay. So I am doing a read-through for Trial by Song, and every day of the week I've been, the 5-day, Monday through Friday, I've been doing a chapter a day and talking about it and some of the inspiration behind certain characters, certain scenes, certain locations. So I do a live reading of a section and then talk about some of those themes. So if you like the behind the scenes stuff, it's been a lot of fun to discuss it, see, some people pick up things earlier and some people don't. So it's just been a lot of fun, and I hope you'll join me. If you do decide you'd like to join me, it's on my Facebook page under my groups, and you can jump in later and go back. I'm happy to talk if you leave a comment.
Oh, fantastic. So guys, I was wrong. You can join right now. That's pretty awesome. And I know I'm in the group, and every single day she's live, she's talking, she's answering questions, she's giving behind the scenes. So it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. You have not checked it out yet, and make sure you hit her up on social media. And Alicia, before you go, let everybody know one more time where to find you, your website and your social media.
Okay. I am on Facebook under, Facebook/author Alicia Gaile. I'm on Twitter at Alicia_Gaile, and then I'm on Instagram as author Alicia Gaile. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate you being here, and we cannot wait to have you back on. Guys, if you have potential topics for us to bring her back, go ahead and let us know in those comments, or feel free to DM us. We appreciate you coming on, and we will talk again soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Bye. All right, guys. So we are moving on. We're going to be talking all about Bookish playlists at this point. We are super excited because, like I said, we are here hanging out with my amazing co-host, Elle Beaumont, who is the reigning queen of Bookish playlists.
I feel like I need my crown.
Well, we probably should have. I should have thought that through, but you had your pretty flower, and I didn't want to ruin that. So the flower can be your crown today. All right. Thanks, guys, so much for joining us. If you are jumping in live, leave us some comment love so that we, A, know you're here, and B, Facebook knows that people are enjoying this show, because the more you talk to us and the more you click the share button, the more people Facebook is going to show our show to, which means we can grow the show, bring on more amazing guest stars, do really incredible things, and share more book world amazingness with each and every one of you. So If you have not clicked the share button yet, do us a favor, give us a little bit of love, and click that button, hit the share, and let your friends see this too. And then after the show, make sure you drag your friends over to watch the replay. And we are going to be chatting with each and every one of you. If you have questions about book playlists, or if you have a really great book playlist, today is the day to share it in our comments. We've got Julie hanging out with us. Thanks so much for joining. We're super excited to see you. And I know you have some really cool book playlist stuff going on too. So if you want to share a little bit, feel free. Elle, today we're talking about Bookish playlists. And so we are turning the tables on you just a little bit because we get to interview you, or I get to interview you. And I'm super excited. Usually you're the one interviewing me. So we're kind of turning the tables today. And I want to know, how do you go about creating these playlists? Because this is something you do for me. You do this for other authors, and you do this just for fun. And I don't do this. So you get to tell me how this works today.
Well, I have Spotify running on the background. Usually I'm reading an ebook, so I have Spotify playing in the background. And I kind of go by the mood that I feel when I'm reading the book or the specific scene. Kind of the same thing as like if I'm writing a scene, something that doesn't distract from the book, something that complements it well. And I just kind of pull from the emotions that I'm feeling, or if I'm shipping somebody with someone and I listen to so much music that I have kind of like a jukebox in my head that I'm like, that song pairs well with those underlying feelings that I'm feeling, or I'm wishing that I'm.
For the record, I guess we just have to be very clear and open about this here. Elle ships some of my characters that are not canon, and sometimes she harasses me with playlists as I'm writing the sequels because she's upset because my character's with the wrong person. And so she's done that. And we're actually going to share that playlist with you in just a few minutes, which we're pretty dang excited about.
Yeah. I love that playlist because I feel like it highlighted that sunken ship so well.
It does. It does. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to share it at this point. So tell us a little bit about this playlist. We actually have two we're going to take a look at today. This one is called Right in the Feels, and that's because she likes to harass me with this one.
So Right in the Feels is about Lucas Montgomery from Your Jaded Duology. And actually, I found that picture, which I thought represented his clean-cut persona that he projects. And,
it really does.
Yeah. I was like, that's totally him. That's totally him. But I actually made this during one of your live broadcasts, and I was like, I'm making something for you. And I put together this list, and I don't want to give too much away. But this specific list is just something that I thought represented how Lucas felt, or I wish that he felt in regard to Jade. Again, I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't read it, but I just thought that all of these, I mean, the first song, the love song, you can just tell the tone of that. What other songs? Oh, Perfect by Ed Sheeran. I mean, come on. Anybody that knows that song, when you listen to that, it's just like, it's enough to break your heart. To Be With You, that is a cover of an 80s song, and it's just to be the next to be with you. You know, like, I think that says it all.
Yes. We've got Julie saying, I am all about the Bookish playlist. Yes, girl. Yes, we absolutely love those. And Allison is asking, where does she find the list online? If you're looking for this exact list, I will pop this up on my social media later. I know it has been on my social media before, and I believe it's also been on Elle's before. But we will also be putting these on our blog post later today And if you stick around for our Monday magazine over on Instagram stories, this will be featured there as well. So for those of you that do not know about Monday magazine, that works in conjunction with Young Adult Edition here. After the show, we put a magazine up on my Instagram story. So it's instagram.com/k.m.robinson.books. And we feature our guest stars for the day. We talk about the things that we talked about on the show. We highlight some really cool things. We'll give you quotes from the show. We will give you things like these playlists, the different freebies we give away, new releases, and you can access all of that for 24 hours on Instagram stories on my page, instagram.com/k.m.robinson.books. So there will be lots of places for you to find these playlists. Allison, we are so glad that you're excited to check these out. And just because I'm going to do another shameless plug for myself, this has to do with the Jada duology, which Elle has actually called the young adult dystopian Mr. and Mrs. Smith, because you never know who's going to die and who's siding with who, and it's just a big old mess. My character, Jade, is forced to marry the commander's son. The commander is angry with her father for starting a rebellion and failing, and because he cannot kill Jade's father, his plan is to marry her off to his son, accept her into the family, and then quietly murder her and make it look like an accident, and she has to try to stay alive by convincing Rome to fall in love with her. So it's a rather interesting story, and Elle is a fan of someone who is not the main guy. And she likes to harass me with this playlist. But moving on from that, if you guys have questions about these playlists, or if you have a playlist you want to share, feel free to drop it in the comments below. We're actually going to take a look at your second playlist, so tell me a little bit about this one.
So The Bear and the Nightingale is by Catherine Arden. It's a young adult, kind of on the verge of a new adult fantasy retelling of Vasilisa the Beautiful, which is Russian folklore, and it has sorry about that, my cat is trying to get in. It has it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And this specific list it has like a little bit of a mishmash. With Them Temptation is like a folklore kind of like light metal rock band. And then the other ones, it's really just, for the most part, instrumental, because it takes place in the woods and it's cold Russia, and it just, that Crystal Palace by Oystein Savag, I think I said his name right. It is actually one of my childhood favorite Christmas CDs. It just, when you listen to that specific song, which is probably my favorite on that list, it just puts you in the setting of you're in this frozen forest, and it's just absolutely beautiful. One of my favorite playlists.
That is fantastic. And Elle, like I said, she is the queen of hanging out with Bookish playlists. She does so very much with all of this, and she's really, really quite incredible with how she is running her playlist. I definitely just lost my button there. There we go. We've got it back. We're good. We're okay. We are hanging out here. And Allison is hanging out with us. We do appreciate you with all the comment love today, Allison. She says that she is new here and she's excited to find us. Well, hey, we are excited that you have found us, and we are excited to find you as well. Make sure you reach out to us after the show and introduce yourself, because I don't think either of us have ever met you before, and we like to make new friends here. So DM us later, or feel free to drop us some more love in the comments below and introduce yourself and who you are and what you do. And we like making new friends. And maybe we can have you on the show one of these days to talk about all things Bookish as well. Elle, I want to know, do you have a specific type of music that you look for as you are doing this? Or is it just kind of random as things happen that you're just kind of figuring things out? Or is there like a specific way that you were looking for things? It was a very difficult way to ask that question.
You know, it kind of just goes by mood. Like I said, I am like a human jukebox. I have just like this filing cabinet in my head of music. And sometimes I know what I'm looking for. For The Bear and the Nightingale, for instance, that playlist, I knew I wanted something earthy, something that sounded folky, and just kind of represented the winter solstice, because that book happens to be about the winter and the winter power and everything. And then for Lucas's playlist, the Right in the Feels, that one I wanted something that represented what could have been, how he felt as he looked at her, something that was unspoken on his part, or, in another lifetime we could have been. Like, I just wanted something that really focused on those kind of feelings.
Yeah. Now, you've actually made playlists for most of my books at this point. I'm a big fan of the one you did for Along Came a Spider, which we're not highlighting at the moment, but this is actually where I got a lot of my good music from. So I just wanted to point that out because I thought
I know I forgot to send that picture over.
I forgot to pull my version, so
yeah, that soundtrack was Along Came a Soundtrack for Along Came a Spider, and that one had some fantastic. I don't know if you have the picture, but if you don't, I'll send it over so Allison can actually see that one too. But that one has
that on Monday Magazine, guys.
Yeah, because that soundtrack. I love that one too. Like I love all the soundtracks that I make, but that one was really fun because it had Spider-Man on. And then it also had that Alan Walker song, The Spectre. Like that one, I know that was one that you actually used for like writing the Chronicles. So
no, I put that on replay, and that is what I write to. Like 3 songs you sent me as I was writing. It was the follow-up is what it was, because I had already had that written by the time you had read it or knew about it. So I listened to that throughout the course of the follow-up book to Along Came a Spider and I'll Come Home, which, by the way, for those of you just joining, that is my young adult retelling of Little Miss Muffet and Spider and Little Bo Peep and a bunch of other nursery rhymes, and they are hackers, which is like computer hackers. It's pretty fun. And so I listened to that while I was writing the sequel, and I'm going to be nonstop playing it as I am writing the rest of the Legends Chronicles, which I'm really excited about. So I think there were like 3 songs. I just put them on replay. This was back before I knew what Spotify was. I was just listening to them on YouTube. I just had to keep going and clicking it. And then you introduced me to Spotify, and it's like, oh, well, that makes life easier. So, but yeah, such goodness. We will put that over on our Monday magazine. Allison, I see that you have just dropped us your info. I do know who you are. So yeah, we're so excited that you are joining us. And if you missed our previous episodes, this is our 3rd episode of Young Adult Edition in the new format. So this is Young Adult Edition 2.0. Our old show was before Elle was my co-host. I was interviewing authors. We have a whole ton of those, but you're going to want to check out our episode 2 episodes ago from here. It was a mermaid episode of Young Adult Edition. We gave a ton of mermaid book recommendations, and all sorts of fun and fabulous things. We recapped International Mermaid Day, and it was just a great time. We had author Amber Ardul join us. She's a mermaid author. You're going to want to check that out because it's pretty awesome. So check out our old episodes over on blog.k.m.robinsonbooks.com. I do believe they're on Elle's blog as well, and you can check it out on YouTube or right here on the Facebook page because all of them are backlogged right here for you to hang out with. All right, Elle, I do have one more question for you before we wrap this up, and that is, how did you get started doing these playlists? I mean, aside from me asking you to.
How do I get started, or how did I get started?
How did you?
I mean, I have loved music since I was little. I mean, the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy." I was whistling that when I was like 9 months old. So,
That's hilarious.
I think because I've always written and I've always been kind of inspired by music. So like back when I was 16, 17, me and my brother used to just sit up in my room and write together. And I would have Evanescence playing in the background. And I'd be like, oh, this is a good song to go with what I'm feeling right now. So from there, it just kind of went, you know what? I'm going to make a playlist for this character. So I actually have playlists per character, not just book, but I have it like, this is how they feel about that. This, like I break it down, and it just stemmed from listening to music growing up and pairing it with how I felt because I feel like I can speak a lot through music, you know? So that's how I started.
That's fantastic. And I feel like I'm just going to throw this out there because I think it would be fun. Have you ever tried to write your own songs?
I did. I have actually, because as a teenager, I thought I was a poet, and and I have some like really emo sounding poems, and then I read some and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is actually pretty good. But I have embarrassingly, I'm gonna blush actually, I have embarrassingly tried to write my own songs.
It's so amazing. I'm just going to say this with a lot less blushing. I totally used to write music back in the day. I actually don't know where it is. I have no idea where it is. The last time I saw it, I think it was college. That was a really long time ago, guys. But I had, throughout my high school and a little bit into college, I didn't really have time in college, but I definitely had a little, a binder full of papers with lyrics and music. And I had songs, which is not something I've actually told people before. So there you go. Exclusive news right there.
Well, see, there was a story that I started working on when I was 16 or 17, and it was this fantasy novel that I started, and I actually wrote these songs that this traveling band of elves was singing, and I was trying to be like all Lord of the Rings about it. I will have to post it on my blog at some point if I can find it, but oh my gosh.
That's amazing. And when you post it, we're going to link it in the comments.
Oh my gosh.
That's so funny. Allison says that her teen poetry sounded emo too. So there you go. There you go. That's so funny. But yes, so lots of fun here going on with Bookish playlists and books and music. We had a great time hanging out with author Alicia Gaile and the queen of playlists, Elle Beaumont herself. Thanks, guys, so much for joining us. We're going to wrap this up. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, now is the time because we're wrapping this baby up. And please make sure that you hit that share button so that your friends can see this too. Bring them along. If you are a bookish person who would like to come hang out with us, we are looking for guest stars. So whether you are an author or a book reviewer, or you create something like Bookish candles or a book subscription box, or you have something you want to talk about in the book industry, we want to hear from you. If you're a publisher or a distributor or someone that offers something to the book community, we would love to chat with you guys. Or if you have topic ideas, go ahead and DM us or leave us a comment below because we are taking suggestions for upcoming topics. We're really excited about it. And speaking of which, we hope that you will join us next week, not next week, for our next episode in 2 weeks. Next week, we are taking a break because Elle is busy next week. Unfortunately, she's got something going on. And our guest star is unable to make it next week, so it will just be me chatting. So 2 weeks from now, we will be hanging out and talking all about book swag here on Young Adult Edition. But you can join me next week because there will be a special broadcast. It's not an episode, but there will be a special broadcast where I am jumping on to talk about a book that is releasing the day after. I'm really excited about it. We're going to chat all about it. And as always, you can hang out with me here on the channel because I go live all the time to do fun, fabulous, bookish things. So come join me, not just for Young Adult Edition, but in general. And I hope you will come and join us next week. At 2 weeks from now, it's going to be a problem with me. For our next episode, our next fabulous, wonderful, amazing episode where we're talking all about book swag, which is pretty dang awesome because we've got some, sorry, hit the wrong button there. I thought it didn't go down, but it did. Hit the button again. There we go. We are going to be talking all about book swag because both Elle and I have some really cool connections to book swag. So we're going to be showing some amazing things next episode, which is going to be awesome. Julie says, woot, bookish things. Yes, we're really excited about it. It's going to be awesome. And we hope that you will join us in 2 weeks on May 7th as we are hanging out talking all about book swag as I attempt to take this image down. There we go. Fantastic. My behind the scenes control panel is being a little bit on the slow side today, so I do apologize for that, guys. But thank you for bearing with me. through those fun little tech, not really glitches, but, laggingness. We make words up here. We're authors. It's okay.
They're amazing.
Yes, it's fun. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We do hope you will join us for our next episode. And, of course, come back and see us for upcoming episodes and live broadcasts. If you have not subscribed to this page yet, you can go ahead and follow my page because that'll give you notifications of when I go live. So not just for Young Adult Edition, but when we're talking about different book things, book releases, book parties, book launches. We've got some amazing other stuff going on, so you can come hang out with me. And you can hang out with Elle as well. So as we're wrapping this up, Elle, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook at Elle Beaumont Books. You can find me on Instagram at Elle Beaumont Books. And if you want to visit my website, it's ellebeaumontbooks.com, and my blog, which you can get to on my website. But if you just want to go straight to it, it is ellebeaumontbooksblog.wordpress.com.
Fantastic. And I am K.M. Robinson, author of the Golden Trilogy, Jaded Duology, Legends Chronicles, the Siren Wars Saga, Virtually Sleeping Beauty, and a couple of other things that are coming out this year that I can't talk about just yet. And you can come hang out with me by going to k.m.robinsonbooks.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at k.m.robinsonbooks. You can also hit me up on blog.k.m.robinsonbooks.com, and you can hit me up on YouTube, where I have replays of all of our Young Adult Edition episodes. We've also got all of my different shows, all of my different broadcasts. We've got videos where I answer Q&A from fans. So if you have questions for me, feel free to drop them below for my next video or live broadcast. And we've got all sorts of amazing behind the scenes, trailers, amazing stuff over on my YouTube page. So go check that out as well. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have a show idea, you want to be on the show, if you have a topic idea, now is a great time to let us know. Or if you want to think about it for a few minutes and come back, feel free to leave us some comment love below or DM us. We would love to have you on or to feature your topic, give you some shout out and a little bit of love here on Young Adult Edition. We do appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining us as always. And we will see you in 2 weeks for a brand new episode. And next week for my special gushing fest over a book by an amazing person who is going to be releasing her newest book the day after, and I'm just going to sit here and tell you why you should read it and how amazing it is. So come join me. I may or may not have some special things to share with you on this bonus live broadcast for this 10 a.m. next Monday, and then the following Monday we will be here for our full Young Adult Edition episode. We will see you then. Until then, stay inspired. Bye-bye, guys.